Don't hope that another man is well. Being lost and not having any bearings as a young man, that's like potentially the hardest thing you'll ever have to deal with. The world is this chaotic, dark, sinister black hole.
I don't like this anymore. I feel fucking dead inside.
You might just have to suffer. You have to also close it out so that you're not mentally poisoned. Use your body to like break that negative mental loop. Chest up, shoulders back, smile. You know, I don't want to hear that from anybody ever.
Whoever you've lost doesn't want you to be sad about them being gone. They just want you to go harder. Hey Sam, I'm 20 and feeling stressed about the future with no real direction. How do you not get overwhelmed and just stay level-headed?
You're gonna need to take the biggest bong rip you've ever breathed. You can only control the. You have a very limited amount of power, and your sphere, your ability to project your limited amount of power, is very short range. So you have to just focus on the things that you can take care of. Try to be a better person. Take care of yourself. Make life more tolerable / good for the people around you who don't suck. God grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's one you can write down in your little journal there when you're working on yourself. But if you're trying to change the things that you cannot change, you're just going to be a foaming at the mouth person with Twitter opinions.
I had a friend take their own life 4 months ago, and I'm the one who found them. The PTSD and guilt is still overwhelming day to day. Drinking to forget is making me empty.
Yeah, well, you better stop drinking, man, because that's not helping you.
Yeah.
It's extremely dumb. I know I should be sympathetic to whatever you're going through, but you can't drink.
You just gotta body the pain raw.
Yeah.
Just let it happen.
Just suck it. I don't think it's helpful to mythologize your own suffering. Yeah, I know that's bad if your friend themselves and you found the body. I think a lot of people, if something like that happens to them, it becomes part of this like canon of lore of all the things that have happened to me. Unless you're like gonna go get revenge right now, none of that is really relevant or helpful to you. It's just baggage. You cannot like be telling yourself this story over. That's what people do. They tell themselves the story over and over again. Like they wake up in the morning. I woke up this morning, but my friend who killed himself didn't wake up this morning. How am I gonna go on with my day being guilty when he can't do the same? Like it's just your day starts with like going over the bullet points of your own trauma. And it's like a partially I'm sure it's a selfish like vanity type thing. I mean, it has to be. Otherwise, why would it? I think it feels good for people to do that. Eject that immediately. Find a way to honor your friend or mourn him that doesn't involve drinking. You can think your way into hell. You can think your way into a recursive thought loop of uselessness, but to get out, you have to like do things in the world. You have to exercise, engage your body. Like that's a really great, it's a cliche thing, but there's a reason why every podcast you've ever heard with some self-improvement dickhead has said the same thing, which is use your body to like more or less break that negative mental loop, circular hamster wheel thinking. To break that, you have to move. You have to lift something heavy. You have to go outside, get some sun. Like these are all cliche, but extremely true. And you should just, instead of noting how cliche they are, just internalize them so that next time you feel like crap, you just go for the sun lamp, which everybody should have a sun lamp. It's a very useful thing. But you got to just do stuff. You can't think your way out of these problems. And a lot of problems are like that, where the thinking is not the way to go. So there's this idea I have. I think Nicholas Nassim Taleb Muhammad. This guy said something like the stimulus is the information, and the point of that being that the environment, it's not possible to separate the information that you want and need to make whatever it is that you do, to separate that from the environment that you're in, kind of. Something like that. Here's what I took from it. I like to live in the ghetto.
Yeah.
and be in a city Providence is not it's not so big that it's overwhelming, but it's still like a city.
Yeah.
And I like that because it makes me, it's the right level of agitation and misery to make me want to work. Whereas if I was out in the sticks, I feel like I would be less productive, and I would also be less in tune with like what is going on in the world.
Yeah.
You know, like I see some little Honduran man going into the check cashing spot wearing a mask still, which is crazy. Like if you go to a city and you see like it's the real like fresh off the boat people who are still wearing masks.
Yeah.
Like the regular like the Dominican like bus driver guy, he's not wearing a mask anymore. But like the people that like just got here like 6 months ago,
Yeah.
they're like they're masked up like their life depends on it. You know what I mean? Seeing that somehow makes me more productive, more ready to do what I have to do.
Knowing that whoever you've lost doesn't want you to be sad about them being gone. They just want you to go harder for them.
Being lost and not having any bearings as a young man, that's like the hardest, potentially the hardest thing you'll ever have to deal with. It's not even necessarily just that you lost your father, but feeling rudderless or directionless in your mid-20s. That's kind of the age where you realize how hopeless that if you're early 20s or you're in your late teens and you're rudderless or directionless, it's still fun. But once you get into your mid 20s and you're directionless or feeling lost, you're more cognizant of how hopeless that situation potentially could be. So that's that's a tight spot. You might just have to suffer. Those feelings, those will go away once you, if you avoid drugs and alcohol, and you try to be reasonably sort of aware of what paths your future might, as long as you're not ignoring the consequences of whatever sort of drudgery or thing it is, a state that you're caught in, you'll end up fine. But there's some things where you just have to suffer through them. There's not really a trick or any kind of thing that anybody can say make you feel better or give you any kind of perspective. I think if you're 25 and you are rudderless and your dad just died, that you probably just your life sucks, and you're just going to have to suffer through it until your fortunes change or the tide changes, which it inevitably will. So just remember that time heals all wounds. Life really does change. Do the best that you can, and don't turn to substances or any kind of empty crap to fill that hole. Be comfortable with the fact that there's a hole there. Don't hope that another man is well. I know that this is just a conversational break in the ice. Hey, it's better than saying, hey, so what kind of sex do you like? It's a better icebreaker than that.
Yeah.
But saying, hey Jed, I hope you're well.
Hope you're doing well.
Hey, Max, I hope you're well, brother. Yeah. I don't want to hear that from anybody ever. You can say it as a joke, but if you're saying it seriously, please stop saying that. I hope you're well. And I'm not well. Okay?
I'm not okay, and it's not a phase.
I'm happy with my current level of unwellness. I wouldn't have it any other way. Not that it's any of your business, but listen, if you're well, something's wrong with you if you're well. If you're a dope and you think things are chill right now, don't watch my content. If stuff is chill with you and you're well and you think everything's cool, I'm overreacting, but you get the point. That's like it's just feminine to be. Listen, if you're a hot girl, you can ask me if I'm well, okay?
Yeah.
And
then we can talk about
then we can talk about personal well-being and stuff. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm lifting pretty heavy weights these days, and yeah, I just got a badass car. I'm feeling pretty tough. Yeah. But if you're a fella, I don't need to tell you about my wellness. I don't want to hear about yours. Okay, let's solve some problems. Let's make some money. But I don't want to talk about wellness.
What's a better intro for the fellas out there?
Oh, I almost said the word that I can't say. Hey, guy.
Loving the content.
Loving the content, brother.
In a recent clip, you said the 48 Laws was crap. Can you expand why? What do you think about other books like Outliers and How to Win Friends and Influence People?
What you need genuine confidence and purpose. The confidence comes from being good at something. If you are good at something that's of real benefit to others, or is a really esteemable thing to be good at. A craft, something meaningful, building something, making, I mean, in a more limited sense, because a lot of the time art and music are just therapy for your broken mind. But if you're making art or music that is of substance and of value to other people, but any of these things, if you're good at any of these things, that will give you genuine confidence. So you can encounter some guy that's 7'1" and shredded at the grocery store, and you won't yield to him walking down the aisle. Like, you'll have genuine confidence. If you become the shit at something, you do not need to do this fake confidence bullshit that doesn't work. You want advice on how to grow muscles? Do
HGH.
HGH. Do strong lifts 5x5. Do jujitsu. The way you build confidence is you work and you get good at something. You don't do this faking confidence bullshit, because people can see through that. You look like a freak. You walk in like this, shoulders back, chest high.
Come on, bring it in. Get the nipples perked up.
Firm handshake. Oh. Guys, firm handshake. And when people give me a firm handshake, I'm like, okay, you jackass. I get it. You did the 10 manly steps to having a firmer handshake course. You want to get knocked out?
That's Law 49.
You just hurt my hand. Now I want to hurt you. Chest up, shoulders back, smile. It's just transparent. It's very transparent. It's kind of pathetic. It's probably better than nothing, the fake it till you make it stuff. But if you actually get good at something, that's where genuine confidence comes from. Get physically dangerous. A tall bodybuilder, or whoever it is that you could imagine, if you imagine someone's intimidating you, whoever it is probably doesn't know how to fight. So why don't you get good at, learn how to fight? Do that. That creates like a 5'8" or 5'6" like pro boxer is a world away from whoever in terms of like physical prowess. Just get good at that. Get good at jujitsu, whatever. The fake stuff and the dark triad stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you have to know, but you have to also close it out so that you're not mentally poisoned. There's a website called themasculineprinciple.blogspot.com, and it's like a super old school Meninist pickup artist, dark triad, women advice website.
Yeah.
And it's so old that it's like the graphics on it, it's like an astronaut sitting back in a lawn chair drinking a beer.
Yeah.
Like it's like super 2002, like man show era, Meninist stuff. And it's the type of info that you have to read, you have to internalize it, you have to learn like the reality of the world. You have to learn how dark and sinister and the chaos of the world. The world is this chaotic, dark, sinister black hole. You have to learn these types of things, but then you have to like separate that from yourself and not let that poison you with cynicism and darkness. And most of the people that I've heard putting forward the 48 laws of power stuff and the dark triad stuff are people who are not yet at the point in life where they have anything resembling genuine meaning or what have you. And I think it's probably best not to. You don't want to dive into that stuff with your whole being for years at a time. You gotta know what it says. You gotta know the truth, but you cannot let that poison you. How about you get good enough at something that you can afford an Acura NSX, an old one, and then you just be cool and roll up in that, and that's where your confidence comes from, your skill. Yeah, how about this? I do this better than anybody else, so I don't need to worry about what you think of me. Guy. How about this? You just genuinely don't worry about what people think about you. You just evaluate the whole world based on the thing that you're good at, and then anybody else who's not good at that thing, their opinion's irrelevant. It's not an antisocial thing. It's just anybody who's not good at the stuff that I value or respect and I'm good at, I don't give a fuck what they think. Ever. Not even one iota.